Hello? Today we're going to talk about Maggie, girl of the streets. Let me get my book. Fantastic. Alright. So, Maggie is the story of Maggie. She was this girl. She was a prostitute. She lived in a tenement in Brooklyn, and she died. That's basically the story. It was written by Stephen Crane. Stephen Crane wrote this in 1893. And Stephen Crane, he was this author, and he was born in 1871. Alright, so let me backtrack. Alright, basically, this book is about the Gilded Age, which you guys should know about, considering you're in CAP, and you did your whole summer reading about the Triangle and people jumping out of buildings and the Gilded Age. So, but for right now, I'm just going to tell you something my old history teacher, George Vlasitz, told me.
The Gilded Age was so named because it was gilded, like a ceiling whose gold covering masks the rotting underneath.
Let's focus on the book. Maggie is born, rough life. She's got an abusive mother, a drunkard for a father, and but she's pretty, which is weird. It's like a flower in a puddle almost. Like in this dirty world, there rises this flower. It's beautiful, like Maggie. And of course, you know, most people would think because she's beautiful, she'd be successful. Maybe she'd make it out, but she doesn't. Because our good old buddy Stephen Crane was a realist. He saw things, I guess, the way they were. He didn't believe, you know, just because you're pretty, you could be successful. So she ends up turning to prostitution, and she dies. Here's what I think about realism. I mean, like, I think it's kind of cool that you're trying to grasp the entire world as it is. Like, you're not trying to, you know, make it seem like what it's not. But I think you're being pretentious about it. I'm like, no, you're not just a realist. You're kind of depressed because I'm pretty sure that Maggie, though Maggie's life sucked, I'm not sure all this bad stuff could happen. Maybe it could. I don't know. I could just be ignorant. But I'd like to think that out there's a kid getting ice cream and playing baseball with his father or mother. I played baseball with my mothers. As much as realism is, it's an art form, and as I respect it. But to me, I love a nice romantic novel. Like the ones with the guys with the great abs on the cover, and it's like, Lost. No, I'm just kidding. Not those type. But I like romanticism. I like the feeling that, you know, good things can happen to people who are born in rough places. And it's not like once you're born into your class, you can't get out of it, which is what Crane tries to say. And sometimes that's true. I don't know, Crane. I challenge you. I think you're wrong. I shouldn't be attacking the book because it's actually kind of good. I have to respect it. Realism gets across the point that when things like this, because things like Stuff and Maggie were actually happening, like Stuff and Maggie was actually going on, and so I think with realism, it gets the point across to readers that this stuff actually happened. So in that sense, it's very useful. I like to think of myself as someone who doesn't think about such sad things, but I mean, a lot of it was true, and that's probably why I don't like realism. I'm a happy person. Theme, which is so important. Theme, like, I'm not even sure what theme exactly is. We've been talking about it forever, but theme is like this obscure word we use to describe half of what a book is. Alright, so, first big theme of this book is the lack of community. Now, a bunch of you are probably asking, what, I thought this was about a prostitute who died and all this stuff. Well, no, there's actually a point to the book. So, lack of community, like on NBC, if any of you watched the show, you'd get it. So in this novel, they talk about how there's this large separation between the lower classes and the upper classes and how they don't really connect with each other. For instance, there's a point in the novel where there is an old woman who lives near Maggie, and her plan is to go get a lot of money by begging in an upper class neighborhood. However, she ends up getting money, but not from the upper class people. She gets it from the poorer people who see her sitting on the side of the street and feel bad for her. So they're not the ones sharing the money. It's the people who don't have as much to give who are actually providing for the lower class. So it's very interesting, because it's not what you'd expect when you read it. It's a very interesting take on the separation of the classes. Anyway, so the second theme of the novel, second big theme, is philanthropy, which I'm sure you guys know what it is, but I have a little definition here in my book. It is the goodwill to fellow members of the human race, especially the active effort to promote human welfare. That's what philanthropy is. Now, if you still don't get what philanthropy is from that, I'm going to give you an example from the book because I'm really cool. So there's this scene where there's this priesty dude, and he's standing by the side of the road, and he's preaching to all these poor people, and all they want is their food, but he's preaching the word of God, and he is not listening to them. And in fact, sorry, I'm getting something here. I think we have an example of it for you. So I'll be back in a second. Adios.
Where's our soup? Where's our soup?
Shut up! You and you! It's all of you! Every single one of you! And you! Right there! I'm talking to you! And you! All of you!
Where's
The
our
voice of God! It's
You,
all-
priest! Why is it that you always must say you and not we?
What?
All right, so basically, that's some sad stuff you just saw there. I know it might have seemed funny, but that's not the point of the book. The book is very sad. The book, you know, you should be crying, and when you turn in the book, your pages should be sopping with tears. I'm going to tell you the story of Johnny the baby. Johnny the baby was so cool because, like, it starts off with, like, this drunk dad in a corner, and Jim, who's the other brother, and he's like he's beats up on his sister, and then there's the mom, and she's throwing dishes, and then there's the whole time there's just Johnny, and he's like the one little happy thing. The only reason I was reading the book was to see if Johnny maybe made it out, because I knew because they already ruined it for me that she was gonna become a hooker and she was gonna go die, and I knew that the whole time, and I knew Jim was probably gonna do something stupid. I was like, Johnny, you're our last hope. Johnny turns out to die when he's a little kid, and let me tell you something. That was stupid, Stephen. Stephen, you could have done a better job. So, well, all of this talking has made me very hungry, so I'm going to wrap this up and go get me some food, preferably some Bojangles chicken. I couldn't resist. So thank you for watching and learning more about Maggie, Girl of the Streets, and if you didn't think this was helpful, well, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But it gives you a little in-depth stuff, and I'm sure you laughed at my expense or whatever. I hope you did, because I enjoyed doing it. So, live from New York, it's Saturday night. But that's just the way of the world, man. I'm just a realist. Plot points. Yeah, we love plot points. I'm sure you have to go, like, to prostitute school, and you gotta go train and stuff, you know, how to pick up a gun and roll your hips around and make yourself seductive. I think you need to know how to do that. I thought someone was behind me. I'm sorry. Okay. I love me some Bojangles chicken. So, peace out. 8 pounds.